At long last, we finally made it. We're going to start talking about how we use all the things that we've learned and put them with music. Basically, being a musician, which is the whole goal of all of this. So far we've learned eighth note bass drum beats, eighth note snare drum beats, eighth note fills of full measures, and eighth note fills of smaller beats of 1, 2, and 3. We want to decide how we're going to use all this. So let's try to make that make sense before we just jump in. So we talked about the beats. We talked about how we play the beats and we repeat them over and over again. But we also have different places that we can play beats. So far, we've used just the hi-hat. And if you look at rock song example number 1, you'll see where it says A, first verse. That's exactly what we're doing, is we're playing that beat on the hi-hat. But if you jump to the first chorus, or the B, notice that the X's go above that where they were before. So now you're going to play, which was beat 1 on the eighth note bass drum page, you're going to use, instead of the hi-hat though, the ride cymbal. So go ahead and get comfortable playing that beat using just the ride cymbal instead of the hi-hat. Now, if you jump to also the trio, you'll see instead of using an X or a symbol for what our right hand was doing, we're using the floor tom. So we've got 3 spots that we can play: the hi-hat, the ride, or the floor tom. And those are our kind of leads of the beats. They're the ones that keep that steady eighth note time. So first things first, let's go ahead and get comfortable with beat A on the hi-hat, beat B on the ride, and then beat C on the floor tom. That will give us the 3 beats of the song. Now, the song is going to use a song structure we call ABACAP, which is A, B, A, C, A, B. It seems complicated, but over time you'll really start to feel this structure. But it means we're going to start off with our A, then we're going to go to our B. We're going to come back to our A and go to our C, then go to our A, and then we're going to end with our B, ABACAP. What we have, though, is we also have our fills. If you remember, we talked about our fills and how to utilize them. The way that we're going to utilize them in this song is we're going to say any of the full measure fills that we have, those are going to use to jump us from one section to the next. So if I'm going from the A to the B, I'm going to use one of those full measure fills. So if you see a full measure fill during the song, you should assume that that's bringing you to another part of the song. We also have, though, the smaller fills, which are the 1 beat, the 2 beat, the 3 beats. Those are kind of designed and used right now to just kind of break up the idea of what we're doing. So if you see one of the smaller fills, those aren't to change, they're just to kind of change up the feel or change up the idea of what we're doing, but we're going to remain whether we're in A, B, or C at that time. So take a look at the song and try to kind of pick out where the different big fills are that are going to help us bridge between the gaps. Now that we've got that, let's try running the whole thing without any audio. Just get comfortable with where the fills and the beats are, because this is a lot of sight reading, and sight reading is very difficult for musicians, especially early on. Okay, if you're comfortable with that, then why don't you go ahead and take a look and watch the whole thing of where the song goes. Notice that when I change between my A and my B, that the song changes too. I'm not just changing for any specific reason, I'm changing because that's what the song dictates. It's a different part of the song. The way that A is played is different than the way that B is played. Same with C. There are the 3 different parts of the song. We come back and we repeat them in the structure, but when we go to the different parts or the different cymbals or the floor tom, it's a different part of the song. So here you go, rock song number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now it's your turn. So take a look at the drumless track and try to play along with it. Use the count in, try to be able to figure out where the timing is and how the changes go. All right, great job. That wraps up the first part of the book, which is our eighth note section. That's the eighth note bass drums, the eighth note snares, the eighth note fills, and being able to play with music. The biggest thing to take out of this song is not that we're looking for perfection of it. Being able to sight read a whole piece of this magnitude with music is very, very difficult. What we really want is we want you to understand why we're teaching you the things that we're teaching you. What are beats? How do we play them with music? What are the fills? How do we use them in music? If you got that, then you really got comfortable with this song, no matter how well you played it. Stick with us. Now we're going to move on, 16th notes.